Hey guys, how you doing? It's JB, and I'm gonna make a little video for you about Mars. Mars is energy assertion, and I've been talking about the Venus-Mars conjunction we've just had in Leo, which has been really cool, and we've had the Sun opposite Pluto. But what's happening now, which I think is really cool, we have what's called a YOD, which is sometimes called a finger of fate. And it's between Neptune and Pluto, which have been in sextile, depending on what orb you have, for many decades actually. But right now they're pretty close, only 2 degrees apart. This is actually a bit like the Venus-Mars situation I was talking about, this divine masculine and feminine kind of energy. We could read it like that. And what happens is when you get 2 inconjuncts, it's called a YOD. I have one in my chart actually, so I feel qualified to talk about a YOD. In a YOD, this is something that you ignore at your peril, right? In my own chart, it's a very sensitive point, and I found that the more I avoid it, the less real progress I can make, you know, spiritually. So it's like this planet really comes under the microscope, under real scrutiny. And what I love is that since this conjunction, we've had Venus passing through this, let's say, I almost think of it like a conveyor belt, right? With in front of this council of Neptune and Pluto. Venus was on the 16th and the 17th, she formed a YOD. And the Venus situation is actually very akin to this Sun-Pluto opposition, in the sense that it was really about, are you a victim or are you going to alchemize this energy and really learn how to value yourself, right? Which is Venus. And when you value yourself, then you get the goodies. But if you don't, then you attract this bully energy, which is Pluto, right? If you act like a victim, then you're going to attract the bullies. So I feel that that was quite good timing actually to have Venus come under the scrutiny of Neptune and Pluto on those days. Now we've got from the 18th to the 21st, it's the turn of Mars. Now I want to take a slightly evolutionary approach to this, right? Because I just find it so interesting how the dates add up. Now in evolutionary astrology, according to Jeff Green, if Pluto is the soul, right, which is something that might be unconscious, it's just like this guiding force in the background to our lives. Mars is the active, or rather let's say the conscious, more ego-driven assertion of this, right? Now, I find it so interesting that the last conjunction they made with Mars and Pluto was on the 22nd of March 2020, and we all know what happened then. So if Mars is taking this soul will out into the 3D and acting on it, we had all of the action in Capricorn last year, and that was where this conjunction took place, okay? That conjunction was hot on the heels of the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, and then we had the Saturn-Pluto, and then we had the Jupiter-Pluto. So it was all about Capricorn, right? So all about the dissolution of these old structures, which are Capricorn. And the word I often use is responsibility, okay? So the message there was perhaps, if all these structures are collapsing, then are you going to take responsibility for yourself, right? Your own structures, your own truth. And we had Mars forming a new cycle, right? It's almost like a new moon situation on the 22nd of March 2020, planting a new seed in the realm of Capricorn, in the realm of responsibility, becoming my authority, okay? Now, what happened was the opposition, which is almost like the full moon type situation, right? When Mars came into opposition with Pluto, that was on the 5th of June this year. Now in evolutionary astrology, when you get to the opposition, which is the equivalent of the full moon, this is when the seed idea is developed to form, it's developed to function and a purpose, and now it becomes public, okay? So on the full moon it becomes public, in the full moon opposition. Now where Mars is now, as I said, is an inconjunct. Now it's also forming an inconjunct with Neptune, but I am going to focus on Pluto today because of this relationship they have. I just find that really interesting. Because what's happening now, well, what happened on the 5th of June, at least in this country, was that this willpower of Mars, it was made public, right? There were people doing a lot of what they're doing behind me today, claiming their power. Now what happens in the inconjunct, in the waning inconjunct, which is where Mars is now with Pluto, is that this willpower which has been asserted publicly then undergoes this process of humiliation. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's suddenly seen to be, if it's too ego-driven, right, this thing's come out into the public, if it's too ego-driven, if it's coming from the wrong place, you get this moment where you're going to get this confrontation, okay? A bit like the Pluto opposition, which we're still coming out of the wake of. and this sense of humility needs to come through. So I'm just saying this with what's going on behind me. There is a kind of caveat here to all of this, which is that when you are asserting yourself, you've got to make sure that it is in the highest good, right? Which is Pluto, and that's what the inconjunct is inviting us into. The sign of Aries is ruled by Mars, of course, and what's in Aries now? Well, Chiron's in Aries. Chiron is really the storyline of giving your power reign. It's really asking you, are you able to claim what's rightfully yours? Okay, that's the Aries thing. And the Chiron is the wound. So this is very much in the air. With all the Capricorn demolition job of external structures, Chiron in Aries is simultaneously asking us, are you up to the job of taking responsibility and really claiming your right, really claiming your sovereignty? And we have Saturn in Aquarius making a very harmonious sextile to Chiron right now in Aries, which is a beautiful support as we go on our individual journeys. Obviously there's a lot collectively going on, which you can see behind me. There's one example of. But yeah, this is a really individual job as well. And if you look at where this conjunction is in your chart, in Capricorn last year, that would be the area of operation that this seed kind of was planted in. So yeah, 18th to the 21st, this scrutiny of Mars, really asking you to discern whether your actions, Mars, are really coming from that soul place of responsibility, Capricorn, and also the Chiron in Aries. Are you empowered in a really soulful way? So yeah, just bear this in mind. It's kind of continuing the theme of the Sun-Pluto opposition about power and sovereignty. So bear this in mind. I hope everything is going well in your part of the world. And thank you so much for watching this.